Hello, hello, hello.
There
Yes.
she is.
Okay. Well, I was trying to hide my sunburn. I know, isn't that terrible? I'm not wearing a pink top. Yep.
Oh,
This is terrible, isn't it? Yes.
oh no. Oh,
Yeah.
ow.
Well, I'll just.
Ooh.
Katie, I think I can hear you. Is that you?
Maybe I'm being a little bit of a creep, not saying anything.
Hey, Katie. Yes,
You'll
exactly.
fit right in. All right.
Yay.
Oh, my headphones are loud. Let me turn them down real quick. All right. So, welcome to Homespun Haints Live. Hey,
Wait. You gotta send me the permissions to show my face hole.
Oh, you want to do that? All right, we'll do that. Yes, we'll do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I put my eyebrows back
all
on
right.
already.
Well, we're waiting for her to do that. Hey, Natalie. Hey,
Hello.
Katie. Glad you could join
Hello.
us. We are so thrilled you're here. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just processing. I'm getting my brain cells back together.
Sweet. Your eyebrows
They
look
sure
amazing.
do. They sure
Thank
do.
you. Appreciate it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Are we
We're
live?
live.
Are we doing the thing?
Yes.
Oh, we are. Okay.
It's a
cool,
show.
It's a
sweet.
show. So far, we have one guest, and as we go, multiple guests pop in and out.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share this with everybody and invite them to join.
Do it. Do it. I gotta fix my headphones.
And while we're waiting for more people to filter in, Diana, I mentioned this to Katie earlier. I'm nervous about backing up. Everybody can see how red. You can tell I was wearing a necklace.
You're quite red.
This is what happens.
Oh my gosh.
This is terrible. Yeah, I was telling Katie
no.
earlier. I went to South Florida for a week and did not get burned at all. And then I went to lunch today outside for an hour. And look at me. It's terrible. So
You look great.
You should have started building.
Yes,
Florida,
I thought I had. I
guess.
thought I'd be fine. I was like, I didn't get burned in Miami. I'll be fine in Atlanta just for lunch on a cloudy day. Yeah.
Here, look, we can sympathize together. Here we go. Alexa, turn dining to crimson.
No. I mean,
Is that better? No, I like it too.
no. Ooh, okay.
Here we
all
go.
right, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Get some
Awesome.
smooth. Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's gonna notice you now. We'll look.
Well,
the same.
you're also wearing like a shirt that is quite like, look at my.
I know. It's almost like I had like this ultra cleavage going on or something. So yeah. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Let me
show you my.
Hey Kimberly,
cleavage.
glad you could join us. All right. Well, I wanted to start out. I was telling Katie a little bit about this time in the past, Diana, where we did a little bit of improv and we asked the audience to throw words at us, and then we would have to improv a story. So we have our lovely guest Katie here, and she could throw words at us, and then we'll have her give us a word, and then we'll ask our audience if they want to give us anything. And we'll start that way, and then we're going to launch into Katie's story. Yay! All right, I think that's what I'll proceed. We're gonna launch into Katie's story, and if you don't know her, this is Katie Groves. She is one of the co-hosts of Haunt Her, I Barely Know Her, which is a hilarious podcast. She does all sorts of spooky subjects, and she's a spooky lady herself, even though she constantly gives me shit on Instagram for putting up scary stuff. And she's like, Becky, and then I'm like,
Mickey.
oh yeah,
I'm the same way.
Okay, Katie, I've listened to your episodes. I mean, there have been the shit that you do sometimes, when you what was with the chair in the cage in the woods? You were just hiking one day, and I mean, you just get yourself in these situations.
Listen, I don't ask for these situations. They just happen, and then it's immediate. Because we go camping, and the last thing that we expect is a chair in a cage in the middle of the woods, and I thought it was a tomato cage, and then I sent my guy friend. I was like, "Oh, check that out over there! Are those, can we have some tomatoes?" And he comes back stone face, white, pale, and he's like, "We have to leave." And I'm like, "What are you talking?" He's like, "There's a chair and it's a cage." And I was like, "We're we're fucking gone. We're miles out of here. Like a radius 10 miles, we need to be outside of that right now. It was a murder house. I don't know. I didn't ask for it.
Something.
I think camping is all about the danger. If it's not scary, it's not camping, really.
I would rather take on a bear than to see a chair in a cage. Like, I'm good. Like, that was the icing on the cake, and I didn't even take a picture. I was just like, head down, out. We're done.
Yeah.
I like my skin. I'll keep it.
Well, anyway, that's a great preview of the type of stuff that you can hear on Katie's podcast, Haunt Her, I Barely Know Her, because like her and her co-host Zoe Knowles, they will tell a personal creepy story, because you always have one, or something hilarious about, like, I remember one where, you know, like, what was it about the guy who set the firecracker off while it was still in his hand, or the Roman candle or something? I mean, just...
I shot my friend with the Roman candle.
Oh, no.
No, they peer pressured me to do it. I was like, I'm not. He got blitzed. It was 4th of July. We had Roman candles, and we were at his property, and he goes out into the yard, and he's like, I want you to shoot me with a Roman candle. And I was like, no, like, this isn't, you're drunk. We're not doing this. And then he's like, no, it's fine. Shoot me with a Roman candle. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. And then his dad, the doctor, was like, shoot him. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. So I light that candle up, and he's walking in the dark, black shirt on, black jeans on. I can't see him, and I'm like, I'm not aiming at him. I'm not aiming at him. And his dad yells out, hit him! And I went, okay, shot at him. He catches it in his neck, and it explodes in between his hand and his neck, and like burns his whole neck.
Yeah. I mean, what was the result you were hoping for? That sounds pretty spot on.
Right. That's what I didn't want to have happen, and that's exactly what happened. So here we are.
And that's when you learned that his dad was a doctor of philosophy.
Right. Exactly. It was PhD, not MD.
Exactly. Sounds like that. Wow.
Interesting.
Okay, well, you have some amazing stories, and we're going to hear some here in a minute. But first, we're going to make up some stories. We're going to pull them straight out of our asses. And Diana, I'm going to let you go first. So,
okay.
Katie, can you give me the name of a spooky location anywhere?
A spoopy location.
Or spooky, or scary. What?
I mean, the Stanley Hotel.
Okay,
I mean, that's pretty.
That's good.
That's good. Is that good?
All right.
That's the one that Shining was based on.
And then we need an object.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
a light
Diana.
bulb.
Make up a story.
I don't have to follow your weird rules. Like, it has to be in iambic pentameter, or it has to involve some famous rapper, or any no weird rules this time? I mean,
if you really want, let me throw something in. It has to involve...
I feel lost without the weird rules.
It has to involve waffles, but not in a way that you eat them.
All right. Well, so this is a story about my summer job at the Stanley Hotel, where I made waffles as carpeting. It was a long, long summer. I mean, it felt like it stretched on forever. This was the summer of '69, and I worked at the Stanley Hotel. I showed up before the season started, so I was all alone. And I was making the waffles, attempting to carpet the entire hotel with waffles. It was all the rage in '69. And then I'm going about the hotel all by myself, and all of a sudden I notice that there is a room with a light bulb that has burnt out. Now, I don't know if you know this about the Stanley Hotel, but it's kind of creepy. So when I went into this dark, dark room with no light to change the light bulb, I started asking myself, how many Dianas does it take to change a light bulb? How many waffles does it take? And the answer, unfortunately, wasn't one. I wasn't able to change the light by myself before the ghost in that room came for me. I was screwing the light bulb one last turn, and as I screwed it in that last turn, I saw eyes directly in front of my face. But fortunately, the waffles on the floor directly under the ghost hadn't exactly been cooked all the way through because I was in such a big hurry. And so the ghost slipped on the waffle batter that was under her feet, and she went tumbling down the stairs. And me and two little girls were holding hands in the hallway watching her fall down the stairs. I don't know where the little girls came from.
From The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So all was well. Okay.
It was fine. Yeah, I got the job completed. The guests were happy. It was a great
Until the
summer. It's the best days of my life.
Awesome. Okay. I guess
that story was not true, in case you couldn't guess. But this is a podcast of true ghost stories, except for that one.
I was so impressed by like the deadpan face you were having the entire time. I would have just lost it at 69. That would have just been the one for me.
Face for radio. Yep. All right, Becky, it's your turn. Katie, can you think of a haunted or ghostly scene or setting, generic place like a pumpkin patch or a hayride or something like that?
Ooh, how about $1 million word, if I could talk. Dilapidated castle?
What dilapidated castle? Okay.
Yes.
And a very famous celebrity.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Okay, cool. Those two do go together.
Becky, your job is to tell me a story about Daniel Radcliffe, a dilapidated castle, and not say the word haunted or ghost.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, this is the story of the time that I wandered into a dilapidated castle on the banks of the Mississippi River in Louisiana and encountered the spirit of Daniel Radcliffe. Now, many of you may not realize that Daniel Radcliffe has a doppelganger. And that doppelganger, his name is Daniel Badcliffe, because he's bad. And he actually likes to take on the more normal roles, whereas the spirit of Daniel Radcliffe. Have you seen any of his movies lately? They are weird. Man, he likes some fucked up roles. I mean, I watched one movie where it was like he was turned into a demon and he had like his arms kept falling off. Anyway, so Daniel Badcliffe was off in Hollywood making his millions, and I was stuck with the spirit of Daniel Radcliffe in this spooky, dilapidated castle. And as I wandered its halls, I would hear a tap, tap, tap on the walls, and then a voice that would say, "Professor Snape!" And I'd be like, oh no, it's the spirit. He doesn't know he's no longer got that role. Well, things came to a head one evening when I realized that eventually I was going to have to find the door and find my way out. And because I had been living here for about 70, 80 years, and it was getting ridiculous. And I really, really needed to find my way out. And so I crept down the halls because the spirit of Daniel Radcliffe liked to sleep during the day because he's all like prim and proper and has to have his son sleep. Ugh, man, he's like the worst roommate. So I would tiptoe down the stairs, and I'm going to get out while he's asleep. And I walked down the stairs, creak, creak, creak. Tried not to step on the cat toys because they're squeaky. There were so many cat toys in this castle. Man, dilapidated castles are the perfect place to collect cats. They love it. It must be all the cheese. Some creak, creak. Occasionally, they step on a mouse. That's okay, because the spirit of Daniel Radcliffe continued to sleep. And then I walked outside. I could almost feel the sun burning through the walls, and I walked outside, and I immediately exploded. I forgot I was a vampire. The end.
Oh. No wonder you were living in a dilapidated
Yeah,
castle
I think
for
I would have
70
remembered.
years.
Well, my memory's not so good. All right, here we are. Shall we do one more round and ask our audience for suggestions? What do you guys think, audience?
Sure. Yeah. Anybody want to volunteer a place and a thing or a person? Anyone?
So, Diana, do you want to tell people how they can do this?
Well, I think all you need to do is raise your hand, which you do by clicking the 2 lines hamburger, or if that doesn't work, your little face bubble.
Yeah.
That same thing you use to clap.
And then click, ask to speak or come to stage or something like that. Oh,
I think it's
man,
the
we should
hamburger.
really learn this eventually.
I've never been a speaker on somebody else's show yet.
If we don't have
We
any
need to try
suggestions,
this.
that's fine. We will go ahead and launch into Katie's show. Or Katie's.
Yeah, Katie really wanted to do an
No.
improv, but
No. I absolutely did not. That is
All
quite
right.
okay.
Okay.
I know. I just want to hear Becky's Professor Snape Mississippi Delta accent again. That was
Professor
fantastic.
Snape! There's some crawdads in the potion with Professor Snape.
Fan-freaking-tastic. All right. Well, since we don't have any buzzwords,
right.
Katie.
That is me.
Here, you have something to tell us.
I do. Do you want to know about the time that I might have haunted my own house?
Look at the title of the show.
That sounds fabulous.
Wow, it's almost like that's why I'm here, is to tell that exact story.
Hey.
So we're gonna do it a little abbreviated, because I think the last time I told this story it took like an hour and a half. So it started when I was a wee little lad. No. When I was a wee child, I was in the 7th and 8th grade. Right. And so being dumb little 7th, 8th grader, right? It's let's play with the Ouija board, right? Because that's what you do when you're younger. So I remember playing with this Ouija board at my friend's birthday party, and we started using it, and it was working. And that was the upsetting part, is that it was working, and the planchette was moving. And every single time we try to use it or like call on somebody to like come forward, of course, we're young, so we didn't do like the whole thing of like closing it out or anything like that. Like, no evil spirits, like nothing like that. It was just like, hey, dead person that we know, you want to come forward and talk? But every single time, this planchette would just slide to goodbye. Every single time. So it's like, all right, so we're calling on these dead people. They clearly don't want to talk. I don't know, maybe they're resting in peace and we're disturbing them. So, I mean, I get it. It's fine. I mean, I wouldn't want to talk to somebody when I die. So I just rub it in your face. Like, we're alive and you're dead. Talk to us through this plastic cardboard thing. So, finally, we're like, can anybody come forward and talk to us? So finally, we get something. I have no idea. And it starts coming through, and we don't believe it. Like, we don't listen. So I remember that I was like, hey, what's my name? And so it starts spelling out on the board. It doesn't spell out my name, but it spells out another girl's name in the room. And it was Amy. So it started spelling out Amy. And of course, as soon as it hits the Y, we all freak out, start screaming. And that was the end of that for that night. We just stopped playing with it. We're just like, oh, hell no. But we're in 7th grade and we're dumb. So we weren't done with it. So the next morning we get back on that board and we play with it some more. It was like me and another chick, and we started playing with it. And I remember we were asking, like, were you murdered? Like, were you killed? Did you kill somebody? And all I can remember is that someone was murdered and there was a knife. So maybe not a good spirit. I don't know. Here we are. So that happened. And then shit started getting weird in my house. Like, I started getting really uncomfortable in my house. Like, my mom also had a really good sixth sense. So like she lived in the house for a little bit before my parents got divorced. And she never felt anything, because she was just like, no, the house is fine. The house is fine. But the day after we did that, there was something in the house, because the whole entire time I had lived there from like when I was 4 till 7th, 8th grade, I was fine. And then all of a sudden one day, it's just, there's something in the hallway staring at me. There's something in the hallway staring at me. I can feel it. I can kind of like, there's something there, and it's broad daylight outside. So finally I call my mom, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, please come get me. There's something in this house. Da, 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 da. So she comes, gets me, and she refuses to go into the house because she's like, my child does not freak out like this. So like, I'm not going in the house. It's not happening. So she gets me, but then my dad's like, you know, get over it. Like, it's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of happens, and it kind of just, it doesn't go away. I was going to say it mellowed out. No, it didn't. So we first started noticing some bullshit in the house when my dad would go away on vacations. He would ask like my mom, myself, of course I would go with her. So like my mom and I would go up to the house and start, checking on the cats. Now, I don't put 2 and 2 together at this time. I have no idea that this haunting in the house has anything to do with the whole Ouija board thing. So all I know is that my dad's going on a vacation. My mom and I go up like in the morning to check on the pets, lock doors, turn on TVs, turn off lights, stuff like that. And we leave. We come back at night. The door is wide open. The TV's off. Lights are on. Like everything was the opposite. So it's like, who's in the house? What is going on? So we shut all the doors, lock them again, turn on the TV, turn on lights, leave for the night. We would come back. Everything's the opposite. TV's off again. There's a door open. Lights are off when they were supposed to be on. And my mom's a very, very, very anal person. Like, if I could just really stress that. So when she said I locked that door and I turned on that light, you knew she'd locked that door and she turned that light on. So that's kind of when stuff started happening in the house, but eventually that stopped. But that was like kind of the first wave of bullshit that was happening in the house. So fast forward a little bit. I have no idea how old I am at this point. I kind of like threw this into like the vault, and I never wanted to think about it again, but then I conjured it up as everybody was like, oh, your haunted house. And then I remember this wonderful piece of information. I'm laying in my bed at my dad's house, and I remember as I'm sleeping, right? And I could see out my door and into my dad's room. And I could see all the way through my dad's room and like down into this hallway at the very end. And I'm laying there, and I see into the dark, dark, dark abyss of my dad's room. It's pitch dark. I see these 2 little glowing eyes come around the corner. And they're like reddish orange glowing eyes. So they're closer to the floor. They're closer together, close to the floor. And I think it's my cat. So I start calling out my cat to like, come here, come here, come here. So the little eyes start bobbing across the floor, heading towards me. And as soon as they get to like the end, like my dad's doorway where the hallway is, and it's a little bit lighter, those eyes just disappear. So I sit upright in my bed. I went, what the fuck did I just see? And the next thing I know, my cat's glowing green eyes come around the corner, and it's actually my cat. When I tell you that bothered me so bad, I like moved my whole bedroom. Like my bed went onto the other side of the room, and I never had my bed in that same exact spot. I never wanted to see at the door. I never wanted to see down in my dad's room, because it was always the hallway in my dad's room that really creeped me out. I hated going to my dad's room. I hated going like down the hallway at night. I'd always keep my head down. Even when I was adult, I was like, I'm not going in your bedroom. I hate this hallway. It's stupid. And my room's at the end of it. That's even stupider. So it was a whole thing.
Oh, I was going to say,
Go ahead.
So we've discussed, since you told us this story, we've talked about liminal spaces that...
I missed that episode, so fill me in.
Yeah, liminal spaces are spaces that are like between. So hallways, doorways, bridges, any like roads, crossroads. These are spaces that like are transitional spaces, and they tend to be where you find ghosts. And our folklore is ripe with this. It's always a crossroad or a doorway, or these are like you put the brick dust or the salt in the doorway, all these things. And the fact that you always sense this like in the doorways or in the hallways, because you did, if I'm remembering the story, I mean, it makes sense. Like these liminal spaces in this house, that's where this thing liked to hang out. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, interrupt me. That's fine. No, it's really creepy that you say that because also I'm like, but it was in my dad's bedroom. But my dad's bedroom, if you followed like down to his room, took a right, and you went straight, it was a door outside. So it was another hallway outside. And it was another crossroad between his bathroom and a hallway that went outside. So I really hate that, Becky. Thank you for that piece of information.
Oh no.
Sorry, there I go scaring you again.
No, it's great. No, it's fine. I live for it. Oh man. So anyways. Oh, it also freaks me out because also the crossroad of like between the front door to the living room and then from the kitchen dining room to the to the hallway is where that activity most happened, is at that 4-way all the time. It's where my dad saw that thing all the time. So did I just
okay. Keep going.
Anyways, that's fine. We're getting there. All right, so this was the night. This was the night that shit went down and stuff started heading south. So I'm like a freshman in high school. I remember this night so vividly, freaked me out. So there was probably a couple years span of like maybe we weren't paying attention or like just didn't realize stuff was going on. And we were just like, it's the cat, it's the dog, it's, I don't know, maybe the neighbors sneaking into the house. We have no idea. We were not paranormal in this household until this night. So I'm at my table, I'm doing my history homework. I can remember I had the red binder out. I've got it, open, and I have my phone well up above my binder. I remember that very vividly. And I'm doing my thing, and I remember that my book is in my bedroom. So I got to go down that cursed hallway, and I have my earphones on. Okay, very important. Listening to music. So I get up, and I go down the hallway, and as I'm looking for my book in my backpack, I hear like plastic clatter against the hardwood floor, and then I hear my dad yell. So I'm like, did he throw the remote? Did he drop the remote? I have no idea. Don't care. My headphones are in. So I get my book, and I make my way back into the kitchen, and I look at the table, and my phone is gone. Where the fuck's my phone? So I start looking. I'm like, I didn't take my phone. Like, where? Like, I'm looking under my binder. Like, I'm looking all around the table. There's not much on the table. I look under the table, well under the table, and there is my phone. I don't know how my phone got around my binder and then underneath the table. I have no idea. So I take my headphones off, and I go into the living room where my dad's sitting, and I was like, did you just throw my phone? And he goes, no. He goes, I thought you did. That's why I was yelling. So that plastic noise was my phone hitting the ground. And I said, I was just down in my room. I was not in the kitchen. And he finally realizes what that meant. He was like, all right, hold up. And he gets up out of his chair. And we start doing some investigating of how the hell did the phone. He's like, where was it? And I said, right here above my binder. He goes, that makes no fucking sense. Like, he's like, there's no way it could have. So we tried to mythbuster it. We try to, what's the word for that? Where you try to prove something that's not right, wrong. I'm drawing a blank.
Don't ask me. I'm sunburned.
Yeah, I get it.
I can't think of it.
Anyways, we try to
debunk.
We try to bust it. I can't think of the word right. Debunk. Thank you. We try to debunk it. Wow, I need to go to bed.
I like Mythbust.
Mythbust. Okay, thank you. All right, we're trademarking it. Wait a minute. So we tried debunking it, and we tried calling it. We tried doing everything to get this phone to move, and it would not move. Like, it would just spin in a circle when it vibrated, but it did not like actively move across the table, no matter what side we put it on. We even tried like sideways, and the phone would not move. So ghost. That's where my brain went, is ghost. And I was like, we're done. Like, it's over. Like, my life is done. Like, I can never be the same in this household again. And it was awful. So fast forward, we get into fights about it, but it is what it is. So fast forward again, a couple of years. And again, stuff could have been happening, but we just blamed it on the cat and we moved on with our lives. Or I just kept looking down. So I'm in the crossroads section where like the kitchen is like leading into the hallway, and then my dad's on the other side of the kitchen. We had a very long kitchen dining area. So we're talking, we're like whatever at each other. It's like midday outside, and he's got the sink on full blast. He's filling it up to thaw out the meat. So as he's doing that, it's going, we're talking, and the conversation goes to a lull. So he goes around the corner into like the utility room, And then I go down the hallway. We come back and the sink is off. And he's like, I left that on. I said, that was on. That sink was on. And he's like, oh, that ghost is going to get you. And I was like, nope, we ain't doing this here. Not happening. Like ran off to my room. I was like, done with that. So my dad had this happen to him, and he was very hesitant to tell me this for a very long time, apparently, but he was like, I gotta tell you. He's always got to, he's like, I gotta tell you something. He's like, I don't want to tell you this, but I gotta tell you this. I'm like, what? Please don't, but tell me, I guess. So he says that he is in his house alone. My brother and I were gone somewhere, and he had was you know, doing his thing in his house, and then he was like, I'm gonna go to bed, like one normal person does. And he starts to walk down the hallway and go into his bedroom with all the lights off, like a not normal person. So as he's walking through the dark towards his bed, all of a sudden he just hears a very audible growl in his ear. And it freaks him out so badly that he turns and he swings. He thinks that there is something there. Like it's just like goosebumps, the growl, like he feels the energy, there's something there, and he swings at it and nothing's there. So he says, you know, you can't hurt me, get the fuck out of here, like you're just annoying me. And I'm like, God, you're wild, you're absolutely wild. Like this is not how a normal person responds. It's cry and leave, pack your bags, maybe burn the house down, I don't know. Like it's just, it's not this, right? So so we never saw it up until this point, right? It's just been like shit's moving. We're hearing things. And one night we're hanging out. We're just watching TV. And I'm sitting in the middle of the living room and I can't see out to that crossroad intersection area. That leads into the hallway. But he can. He's sitting off to like by 2:30. So I'm kind of like talking in the back of his head and like we're going back and forth. And I've never seen my dad scared. I've never in my life have ever seen my dad scared. But all of a sudden, that man, that Irish red man, like as red as your chest, Becky, he goes as white as a ghost. And he's like jaw dropped, eyes bulging, white. And I don't look. I'm not looking down the hallway. I don't know what the fuck he just saw. And I'm like, what did you see, man? He's like, you're not going to believe this. I said, no, I probably will. He said, he's like, I saw a shadow, but he was like, it wasn't a shadow because I could see through it. But he was like, it was a dark-ish cloud that went from the dining room down into the hallway. And I went, we have to go. We have to leave. We can't stay here. Like, what is going on? And he was like, it can't hurt you. It's fine. No, that's not how any of this works.
They can hurt you. Sorry.
So...
If it can move your phone, it can move other sharp objects.
That's what I said. And he was like, no, it doesn't.
How does he know? Is he the ghost expert?
It doesn't. No, I'm the ghost expert now. Damn it.
Yep.
So, right. So after that, like every single time this like stuff happens, I go into like a panic for a week, and then he has to like put up with me. And he's like, I'm so sick of your shit. Like, I don't want to deal with this. He's like, I'm not telling you nothing. But then he proceeds to tell me more because he can't help himself. So he has an employee that works with him, and the employee is a very religious Catholic Hispanic. So, you know, whatever, that's also not on their radar quite right. So he brings the employee into the house and is like making this employee some like food. They were doing a lunch break. So he's sitting in the kitchen at like a bar, and off to his left is like a big massive window that's outside our back patio. So as they're you know, he's sitting there and eating, he looks to his left and he starts freaking out. And my dad's like, what is wrong with you? And the guy's like, a man just walked in front of your window right there, like on your back patio, like right there. So my dad grabs his butcher knife, goes out into the back patio, and there's no one there. There's no one on the back patio, no one around. My dad looked and was like, there's no one here. So that worker came out onto the back patio and starts freaking out. And my dad's like, what is wrong with you? And the guy's like, there is no way a man could have walked there. There's your grill and your patio furniture. He had to have walked through it. That worker would never, ever get out of the truck ever again if he ever came to our house. But I mean, like, reasonably so, like, understandably. Like, I wouldn't either, and I had to live there, right? So that was kind of the last thing that had happened for like years. That was the last thing that like happened in the house. Until Haunt Her, I barely know her. Things were so quiet. Things were so peaceful. And then we had to stir the shit pot again. We started researching, right? So we're talking ghosts, we're talking plans, we're talking like, you know, what do we want to do? Like what, like haunted places, haunted objects, like haunted anything and everything, right? So of course we're scared, you know, for us in my first couple episodes, I'm like, I'm crying. I'm doing Harold the Doll and I am crying. Please say a prayer for me. And like, I never asked anybody to pray for me. I'm like, oh my God. So we're recording. We're in the middle of recording and we have the door shut because we didn't want the dog coming in. And we hear footsteps go down the hallway. But what was interesting about these footsteps is that it wasn't like shaking the house. Like there was no like vibration from the steps. It was just the sounds of stepping. But she hears it. She and I are both looking at each other and we're supposed to be home alone. There's no one who is supposed to be there. Like we're recording while my dad's gone. And it's walking down. This is a long hallway. Like it's not short. So it's walking down this hallway. So I'm like, there is someone here. And I take my headphones off. I rip open the door. I'm like, who the fuck is here in my house? So I start like going down the hallway and I'm checking both of our rooms and there's no one there. And the dog is just, you know, like dead on the couch. Like obviously there's no one in the house if the dog is just lying there, like, you know, tongue out, whatever. And so I look out the front window. My dad's truck's not there. I'm like, okay, cool. That ghost just walked down the hallway. That's awesome. So we never caught it. We didn't catch it on our mics because the gain was too well adjusted. So I'm like, you know what? We're just not going to act like that happened. It didn't happen. It didn't happen, right? If you just think it didn't happen.
Sure,
didn't
Katie.
Happen.
Exactly how it works.
Yeah. I thought it didn't work. So we sit down and we start recording again and knocking starts happening on the walls, on like in the closet, which was really weird. So this is aggravating me because the only thing now I'm thinking of is like all the editing I'm gonna have to do. Like I was like, we're in the middle of a damn show, like stop. So I get up and what's on the other side of the closet in that room is the hallway closet to the front door. So I walk around, I'm like, maybe something fell in there. I don't know. The door's shut. There's nothing that fell in there. It's just full of closets. I didn't even know what was in the closet. It was just coats and then boots on the floor. So finally I was like, I don't know what you want. I don't know if you want acknowledgement, whatever, but you're messing up my show. Stop. And that was it. It stopped. Oh, at least for that time. So I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell my dad shit. I didn't tell my dad nothing. I didn't want him knowing that ghost was back because I didn't want to have to hear it. So I didn't tell him anything, right? I don't even think anything of it, honestly, after that point, because I was just like, it didn't happen. So it didn't happen. So I come out of my room one day. Right. Thank you, Becky. Yeah, thanks for the look. So I come out of my room and I walk down the hallway. And the first thing my dad says when he sees me, he goes, "You little assholes got that ghost going again." And I went, "Papa, whatever could you mean?" And he goes, "I was sitting in my chair and it's like closer to the crossway. So like instead of his chair being on like the opposite side and like the crossway's over here, he's like on this side now and the crossway's right here." So he said, "I was sitting in my chair last night watching TV." And he goes, "I'm watching TV." And he says, "I feel something staring at me." And he looks up and that ghost was leaning out of the doorway, just staring down at him. And my dad, like the weirdo he is, goes, "Hey man, haven't seen you in a while." And it just disappears, just fucks off. I'm like, oh my fucking God, not again. So I'm like, you know what? Nothing's ever happened in my room. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Nothing's happened in my room. So I was like, you know what? That's your buddy. That's your friend. You have at it. That's all yours. So later he tells me again something happened, and I was like, please no. So he was on the back patio, and he said he heard a woman call his name, which, by the way, he's deaf, just absolutely cannot hear. So the fact that he heard someone yell his name meant it had to be loud. So he turns around and he's like, who's calling my name? Like one of the neighbors' wives? I don't know. So he's just like looking around, like he circled the whole house, went through his whole backyard. He's like, I cannot find. He went and asked, like he went over to like our neighbors. He's like, did you call me? Because he's like the handyman of the neighborhood. So he's like, were you? And they're like, no. Like he asked, like every single woman around was like, did you? They're like, no. No idea what that was. So the very last thing that happened in that house was in my room. So
darn it.
Yeah, right. I almost got out. Without anything happening to me. So I had surgery, and I had anticipated being like in my bed for about a week. And so I was like, I know when I have the surgery, I want junk food. I want drinks. I want all the disgusting shit that I probably shouldn't be eating after a surgery, but whatever, whatever. So I get like a bunch of like different bottles of like different things that I would want to drink. And I drink them, but then I just kind of I leave them in my room. Like I don't get up like to go throw them in the trash can because I'm a loser, but I did afterwards. But at the time I just didn't. I just had like a little neat pile in the corner of my room. It wasn't a big deal. So I get up and I leave to just walk down the hallway, get something real quick and come back. I wasn't gone no more than 2 minutes. There was no freaking way. I come back and I look down. In the center of my room is a chocolate milk bottle from the pile that's the fuck over there. And over here is this milk bottle flipped upside down in the center of my room. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go back down into the living room and get my dad. I said, come here. I said, come here. So he's like, what? So we go into my bedroom and I point at the milk bottle. I said, did you fucking do that? He goes, what am I looking at? And I'm like, the milk bottle upside down. Because like, why is the milk bottle upside down in the middle of your room ominous? I don't fucking know. But in this moment, it absolutely was. It was the scariest fucking chocolate milk bottle I've ever seen in my life. So I'm like, I can't do this with you right now. I said, I need to know. Did you do this? He goes, no. I said, okay, great. And I kicked that bottle, just gone. Just kick it. And I said, and I didn't take a picture of it because I didn't even want to deal with this because I was like, I'm bedridden for like this week and next week. And I have to deal with a ghost in my fucking room. Kicked it. I was like, I am not accepting the energy of this. Like I do not claim this energy. And that was it. That was the last thing that happened. We sold the house. He moved out. I moved away up here to Virginia. And that was it. Thank God. Thank God it's over.
All right. Wow. Okay. And any word from the new owners? Did you reveal to them that the house was haunted?
No and no. So like my dad, because that's the first thing I asked. I was like, he's like, are you gonna disclose? He's like, fuck no. He's like, I'm not telling nobody nothing. He's like, I don't have to. And I was like, that's fair. Like, no, that's fair. Because like some people move into houses where it's haunted as shit and then nothing happens to them. So then later I did ask and I was like, did you ever follow up with them and be like, hey, experience anything weird? And he was like, kinda. And they said no. They said the house was perfectly fine. And I said, good. Well, I hope it stays that way for them.
Well, maybe.
And
I was going to say maybe they just have a lot of really good energy they were able to bring into it and flush all that out. Yeah.
Good vibes, right? Yeah. I even asked my dad when he moved out into the first house, I said, did it follow you? I was like, is it attached to you? He goes, no, I don't think so. And nothing happened. He's moved into one house afterwards, and then another house, and he's not had anything happen to him.
You have to volunteer to bring the Ouija board over.
Fuck no. Well, no, because like he bought the second house that it was a fixer-upper. It's a fixer-upper house. He's like, I'm going to fix up this house. I'm like, awesome, great. So I go home for Christmas and I walk into this house and I look at him and I go, why do I feel like someone was murdered in this house? I said, why? And he goes, why would you think that? And he starts like gaslighting me. Why would you think that? Like, there's no reason for you to think that. You're crazy, right? This asshole comes to me later and goes, okay, I gotta tell you. He's like, I can't keep it in any longer. guy can't keep a fucking secret to save his life. He goes, there was a woman murdered in this house. And I went, fuck you. Fuck you.
Why would you buy it?
So,
oh my God. Must have been a really good deal.
It was, but it was also a real shithole. But this woman lived in it for God knows how long, 40, 50, 60 years. And then a nephew wanted it in the will, and she wasn't willing it to her. So he drove up and killed her in her sleep. And I was like, that's awful. Oh my God. Yeah. He didn't get the house. So,
dick.
But yeah, she was murdered in the house, and it was creepy. It was a little creepy. Nothing happened.
That's interesting.
Yeah, as soon as I walked in, I was like, 100% somebody got murdered in this house. I can feel it.
Interesting. Wow.
I'm good. Don't come up with any ideas, Becky. We're not. Don't send me into any places. Be like, what do you feel? Nothing. I'm in the car still.
Don't worry, Katie.
Well, I personally agree that if you think it didn't happen, it didn't happen. That's how I deal with my haunted house. And when I was a wee lad, we used the Ouija board all the time in this house. I learned my alphabet on the Ouija board. Learned how to count to 10 on the Ouija board when I was a little baby, a wee lad. And yeah, I was gonna say nothing ever went wrong, but my house is really haunted.
Well, let's see. I got mine right here. Yeah.
Don't. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No.
She only plays it with her cat.
Yeah, though. My cat. My husband gets so ticked. He's like, "Don't use that in the house." So I haven't. I don't even know where the plant's at. So I just use it in haunted cemeteries. So I wanted to see if anybody had any questions for you, Katie. Is there anybody out there who has questions?
I'm open to take questions.
Anybody? Yeah,
you can raise your hand the same way you clap and laugh, or you can get on Instagram and navigate to @Homespun Haints. Direct message
I don't have that. I guess I need to set that up.
Oh
well,
my gosh,
I have to
Becky.
do it through my computer.
Pop up right in front of your face.
I don't.
Right?
I turned off notifications. It's fucking with my ADHD.
Oh.
I can't do it. All right. All right. Yeah, we can do that. If anybody does, you can click on your icon or the little hamburger thing and choose speaker. Invite to stage, or you want to come to the stage, and we'll see it and we'll bring you on stage for a few minutes if you have any questions to ask. If not, no pressure.
You don't have to do video.
Exactly.
Just your voice.
Or you can.
We don't want much.
Or you can go to Instagram. We just want your voice. We're like Ursula. Or you can go to Instagram, instagram.com/homespunhaints, and you can send us a message. And it looks like I got a message from Katie saying that she got her headphones to work. Okay, cool.
That was me. I was like, what?
Timely. So it's weird because we're both in the same situation where we lived in a haunted house for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, when you're in that situation, it's very easy to say, nah, and just kind of nope it out of existence, So I get where you're coming from. It never even dawned on me to be like, we need to move. That didn't even occur to me. It's just like, oh, something creepy's happening in the basement. I think I'm not going to go down there again. I'll do laundry tomorrow. It's one of those things where when you live in a haunted house for years, something happens maybe once every couple of years sometimes. It doesn't always, it's not like a Hollywood haunted attraction where things are flying around constantly and you're like, can you stop? I need to go to sleep. That's not
my parents'
actually works.
House.
So
I really their first house in Atlanta. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Shit flying all over the place in the kitchen, and it was from cabinet to cabinet, and knives were moving around, and cups, the milk jug on the floor thing. We had that happen with a cup. And then I came home once from college, and that creepy thing stood in this doorway and I was like, no. I'm not staying here.
So time out. Are you being fucking real right now? And you didn't tell this on my podcast.
I forgot about it. It's like, I noped it out of my memory. Yeah.
Because it took so long for all these events to occur.
No. This was just
kind of
like
deniable.
I have. Well, let's see. What did I told you the haunted gallery story? What did I tell you on your podcast?
The eel, the haunted gallery, your haunted neighborhood.
I don't know. See, I just have so many that like I forgot. Yeah,
You
so I
just have
forgot
so
about
many.
the things flying out of the cabinets. It's also it was like a weird transitional phase in my life. Like I was just graduating high school, getting ready for college. Shit was flying, but I was like, I gotta take my SATs. So I wasn't really paying attention.
What did your parents have to say? Like, their shit's getting trashed.
My mom called
like
it the kitchen ghost, and they just remodeled the kitchen, and it went away.
So usually it gets worse when you remodel.
It may have actually. About 3 weeks after they remodeled it, Katrina hit, and the whole house was flooded, and then FEMA purchased the house from them and leveled it so that they could.
So it could have gotten worse, but nobody
possible.
knows because the house.
But I drove
just
by
isn't
it
there anymore.
about a year ago. I drove by the land that the house sat on because my gynecologist is right there. So usually I just want to get the hell home after that. But I was like, I have a few minutes. Let me go see the old stomping grounds. And it was weird. It was like it had a really weird feeling about it. And then somebody had like hung a tire swing. And I was like, no, don't let your kids play there. No. Yeah, but no, it was kind of a messed up house. Like, I didn't like it at all. But I really only was there for a few months. But enough shit happened the few months I was there that I was like, no.
You said something was standing there.
I came home one year from college for, I think it was Christmas, and my boyfriend at the time came with me, but my parents, of course, wouldn't let him sleep in the same room as me. So they put me in like my old bedroom, which really like this had been my bedroom for literally a month because they moved to, well, maybe 3 months. They moved to Atlanta in June, and then I went off to college in September. So I was there for like 2 or 3 months, and I never came back because A, I hated that house, and B, I would come back and my parents would be like, oh, you got a midnight curfew, and I'd be like, I'm 22, and they'd be like, no, you got a midnight curfew. So it was like just sucked coming back. So I come back and I brought my boyfriend. We were going to spend Christmas with my parents, and they put him in my sister's room, and the cat is like going ape shit over there. She's
so cute.
She's actually trying to turn the doorknob with her little paws. She understands. But so anyway, he goes to bed, I go to bed, lights are out. My husband's listening to this, so hi honey. And I'm like lying there in the bed. I never really felt comfortable in this room anyway. Like there's always just a weirdness. And I thought at the time, that's another reason I don't think I really thought much of it. I had just moved from like rural Tennessee country to big city Atlanta, and we were like in the city. So I was going through all this stuff, and I thought that like all the crazy stuff that I was feeling in this house, all this like weirdness, was just me transitioning that 3 months that I lived there. So then I move away to Chicago. I come back. I'm used to the city now, so maybe I'm a little bit more aware. So I come home. I'm lying in that bed in that room, and ex-boyfriend goes to sleep. I'm lying there. I'm looking out. The door's open. I left it open in case, and sure enough, about, I don't know how much time had passed, maybe 30 minutes. A tall man walks into the doorway, and I see the shadow. He just stands there. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, okay, he's going to sneak into the bedroom. And then it doesn't move. And I'm like, hey, it's okay. I'm awake. Come on in. Still doesn't move, just stands there. And I started getting angry because this guy was a dick. So I'm like, you asshole, stop trying to scare me. Like, you're really fucking scaring me. Stop it. And I'm like cursing all these obscenities, right? Because I am getting scared. And finally, like, I'm like, what the hell is, so I jump up, I rush over, I turn on the lights, and it's like, whoosh, just gone. And of course, the next day, I'm like, hey, did you get up in the middle of the night? Like, I'm thinking maybe I saw him walk to the bathroom and I didn't see, anything, trying to justify it. He's like, no, man, I was out. Like, I had to hit the pillow. We had a long flight. I'm just, I was like, okay. Yep, I don't like this house.
Oh my God.
But yeah, things were moving around all the time in the kitchen. Like, we saw things fly. It was just, my mom she was just like, yep, there's the kitchen ghost again. She is so nonchalant about it. She's like, oh, it's the funniest thing. I came downstairs and things have moved around again. Oh, that kitchen ghost, he sure is funny.
What? Are you serious?
My mom's she's neat.
She's neat.
So yeah. I don't know. I can come back on your show if you want, but yeah.
We might do a
Sounds
bonus
good.
episode with you and just be like, I need you to tell me the kitchen ghost and the flying bullshit.
So listeners, if you're wondering where the full story is, it's an episode on our podcast, Homespun Haints, called The One Who Still Waits
it has a
for Her.
picture of a cow and a whisk in the house. Because I also talk about the cows and the octagons that my grandfather builds on that too. So yeah, different house. Yeah. So anyway,
still creepy.
we can go on all sorts of tangents here because it sounds like we all have some pretty weird houses we've lived in, some pretty weird families we've dealt with, and some pretty interesting ghosts that come with all of that.
Yep.
So, but
For sure.
it is getting up there in time, and I know it is a lot of our bedtime, and my cat is going apeshit back there. So we're gonna close things up, but first of all, I hear your cat too, Katie.
Yeah, he's screaming at me now.
I want to thank you
for
so
bed.
much for coming on and sharing. I know it's really traumatic to relive all of these experiences, and because you don't talk about anything spooky at all, even though you no,
Never. No.
Gosh.
No, never.
Yeah, every time you give me shit about something scary I say, and then I'm like, wait a minute, let me listen to your show. It's
I'm like, Becky, could you not bring up my house for like 2 seconds, please? No, please. No, I'm just giving you shit. Please keep doing it. I just laugh and I'm like, fuck you, Becky, and your creepy drawings.
She does that all the time. And I'm like, yeah,
Awesome.
you found a chair in a cage. I don't want to hear it. Like, you...
Listen, I don't want these things that just attract to me. I don't want
in this
it.
business, it makes for great stories. That's what we're all about, right?
Right,
Think of
yeah.
it like...
But
and
sometimes...
every time I feel like a ghost or something grab my wrist, because this actually happened, I went to the base of the St. Augustine Lighthouse, which is incredibly haunted at night, like 11 o'clock at night a few weeks ago. And I felt something grab my hand, and I was like, I love it. It's called content. So
It's called content.
Yep, exactly. That's what it's all about. But Katie, truly, thank you so much. Your podcast is called Haunt Her, I Barely Know Her. And you can find it anywhere you listen to our podcast, Homespun Haints, which we do have. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Jessica. We do have our regular recorded episodes as well as this live show that we do every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. at Eastern. And Katie, you can find her podcasts, same places, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get podcasts. And Katie, where can people find you online and social?
I don't do this part, so I have to think about it. HHIBKH podcast is where you can find us on. I think we're not on all the places you are. I think we're just on
You're
Instagram
pretty
and
active
Twitter.
on Instagram.
Fair.
So yeah, it's a good
Try
place.
to be,
it's a
yeah.
good place to follow you. And of course, how often do your episodes come out?
Every Friday when you wake up, an episode is out. We publish them at like
That's
2 in the
awesome.
morning. So when you
So
wake
if
up,
you do
they're
have to
there,
commute,
ready to go.
You got something to listen to, and
Okay.
or you just want to listen to something while you carry out boring whatever vacuuming or data entry or whatever you have to do.
Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah, Diana makes me do a lot of those.
That's my
All right.
job. Yeah.
And also, you can find us at Homespun Haints on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok, and Facebook. And also, if you aren't a part of our Facebook group, please check it out, homespunhaints.com. Facebook.com/groups/Homespun Haints. And we do have a lot of really cool discussions in there. Yes, it's a private group, but all you have to do is answer some questions and we'll let you in. And that's also where we'll always post an event for our upcoming shows here, and also links to find recorded when we post these on on YouTube. I'm getting tired. When we post these shows on YouTube, we put links there as well. So it's a great way to just kind of have a discussion with us, ask us any questions. And any questions that you want to relay to Katie, let us know. We'll send them to her. And
hopefully we'll have you do another weird live thing with tarot cards with us soon.
Yeah,
I have them.
We talked about it, but we didn't have time today. But we'll do something with tarot down the road. That would be great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someday, because it's always a joy to have you on our show. You are just the best.
Can I tell you both something really crazy real quick about a tarot reading that I did? Okay, super quick. I'll make it quick. There's this woman that I work with, and she's also kind of woo-woo, you know, it basically in the circle of like bullshit, right? And, you know, Tara from Haunted Housewives podcast, right? Okay. You know about, she does like the Akashic Records stuff, right? Okay. So I did my session with her, and then I was telling my coworkers about it, and she goes, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to do it." Like, as soon as she heard my episode, she like immediately went to her. So she goes to her and she's like, you're an Atlantic healer. That's what my coworker is. She's like, "You're an Atlantic healer. You need to start looking at that, blah, blah, blah." So she tells me this. I'm like, "Yeah, no, okay, no big deal." So one day she comes in, I have Oracle cards. She hands them to me. She goes, "Draw some cards for me." I said, "No problem." So I start drawing cards. I shit you not. I drew a card that was like, "You are an Atlantean and you need to get back to your roots." And she was just like, "Get out of my office."
Wow.
It's so creepy how I keep doing
You're
that.
good at it. You gotta get
it was
well,
so
you can walk
weird.
into our house and know it's all got a murder in it. So yeah.
I don't want it.
Embarrassing.
It's all right.
Well, thank you, Katie. It's just such a delight.
Yeah,
to talk
absolutely.
to you. And everybody who is listening and who is watching the replays, thank you so much for sitting in and listening to our creepy stories. And we love you all. Really appreciate it.
Love you so much. Thank you for being our audience today, and I hope you have a very spooky day.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.